Hey, what's good? Kyou here. This is my first clear POV of P9S. So I just wanted to upload it and do a little bit of commentary over it. Although I've labeled this as a healing commentary, this fight doesn't really have a lot of heal. It has a couple of hard-hitting moves, but Mitigation is a team-wide effort, so only so much that a single shield dealer can do. In my opinion, the hardest heal checks in the game are the ones with mechanics that have heavy movement and multiple hard-hitting attacks. But since this is a first turn fight, not really many of those here. So as long as your team does mechanics, you should be mostly fine as a healer in this fight. Also, this is not a mechanic guide, since this is day 1, but if Party Finder decides on some solid strats later on, I'll definitely make a guide over that also. And just in case you're curious, our group mostly decided to use Xeno strats. So very start of the fight, there's triple gem attacks. This is actually probably one of the hardest hitting parts of the entire fight. Moves with repeated healing like Panheima or Lilybell are pretty recommended. I would recommend swinging middle between hits just to get some healing out. Even though the mitigation buffs did get buffed to a pretty big range, your heals are still the same range as ever, and it's important that you hit everyone so they're fully topped off for the mechanic. For Ravenings, would suggest having mitts or regens covering all of those hits, and it's worth noting that the actual damage is slightly delayed after the actual Ravening cast. The Ruby trails are actually probably the hardest mechanic in the fight, where you have to solve the trails endpoints, but even then it's not that hard once you get a few practice reps in. Fight is not very difficult to heal. Most of it really comes down to just having mitigation and then dropping a couple of OG CDs before the next mechanic. Never really felt pressured to overheal, and even when people die, I felt like there's still plenty of resources available to recover. For Limit Cut, the Defamation or the ice circles will kill squishy targets if they're not full HP, so as a healer just make sure everyone's topped up and you shouldn't have any issues. I'm actually pretty curious what Limit Cut strat PF will eventually decide on. Party Finder's fate probably rests in the hands of Hector at this point. Even when my basic shield was on cooldown for the raid wides, I never really felt punished for mismanaging the timeline since the raid wides didn't do that much damage. The fight by no means requires precise optimization play. I feel like as long as you know your kit well enough, it'd be fine. P11 and P12 will have a lot more damage that requires proper mitigation. particularly for week 1, where everyone is under-geared. Comet, make sure you have plenty of mitigation for the initial stack, and make sure everyone's topped off. When you're baiting your thunder proteins, very helpful to stand on the lines in the arena so you don't accidentally clip a rock. I'd also recommend not dashing into the wall. Fight is really generous that you have plenty of time to heal or res between mechanics, and there's not a ton of body checks. That will instantly wipe the raid. Tank busters don't hit very hard in this fight either. I found that the P9S tank busters with their bleed did significantly more overall damage. Ruby weapon is probably the hardest mechanically, but it's forgiving in that you can still eat damage downs and survive. I'm proud of myself here for blowing all my MIT before the limit break, since I probably would have died to the raw unmitigated raid-wide damage if I didn't. For the second limit cut, I got 3, and Sage Dash really excels in that kind of situation. Man, that's Sage privilege right there. That kind of quality of life stuff is why I wanted to play Sage over Scholar so much. A couple of repeat mechanics to finish things off, and that's the fight. Mechanically, I thought this fight was a lot harder than P9S, which I was able to clear in the party finder in 2 lockouts, but I don't mind it. Nice having a faster paced fight. Anyways, not really sure what there is to gain from this POV, but if you did find it helpful, I'm glad for it. More Savage POVs coming in the near future, so hope to see you around, where the healing will probably be a lot harder. Hope y'all have some good luck Savage raiding, more importantly, some good fun. Take care.